Are we on the brink of a global economic collapse worse than any in recent history? With experts warning of a severe crisis in 2025, many are questioning if it could surpass the devastation of 2008. What factors are driving this potential catastrophe, and how can we prepare? The looming crisis of 2025 isn't coming out of nowhere. Economists have been sounding the alarm for years, from the staggering levels of national and corporate debt to inflation that just won't quit. The signs have been clear. Yet for many, the potential for a financial collapse of this magnitude feels distant, until it hits. What makes 2025 so concerning is that it isn't just about one or two countries faltering or a single industry falling apart. This time we're talking about a perfect storm, with multiple global forces working in tandem to create a crisis far worse than what we've experienced in 2008. But what exactly are those forces? And why is the situation becoming so dire? One of the primary drivers of the coming crisis is global debt, which has reached unprecedented levels. Governments and corporations around the world have borrowed heavily to keep their economies afloat, particularly in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Countries like the United States and many in the European Union are grappling with national debt levels that have become unsustainable. So why haven't these warning signs led to serious actions yet? Perhaps because many policymakers have placed their bets on short-term fixes, hoping to kick the can down the road. But 2025 may very well be when the road runs out. Inflation remains a significant issue, with prices for essentials like food and energy steadily rising, putting pressure on consumers. The inflation surges began in 2021, driven by supply chain disruptions, energy shortages, and post-pandemic demand. As a result, we may face stagflation, stagnant growth paired with persistent inflation reminiscent of the 1970s. Adding to the uncertainty are the geopolitical tensions simmering around the world. Conflicts in regions like the Middle East and Eastern Europe threaten to disrupt global trade and energy supplies. The ongoing war in Ukraine, for example, has caused significant spikes in energy prices and supply chain bottlenecks. If these tensions continue to escalate or if new conflicts arise, the global economy could face even more setbacks. The fragility of global supply chains is another major factor contributing to the looming crisis. Though some industries have bounced back and the recovery has been uneven, and supply chains remain fragile. Any new shock, whether a natural disaster, geopolitical event, or another pandemic, could send the global economy spiraling. How can nations secure their economies when the systems they rely on are so easily broken? Raising distrust in financial institutions is intensifying fears of a looming crisis. Scarred by the 2008 crash, where banks received bailouts while ordinary people suffered, many have grown weary of governments and central banks. Could more regions follow Brexit or Catalonia's path, breaking away from discontent? As we look towards 2025, it's not just about the potential collapse of financial institutions or the failure of government policies. Everyday life will be deeply affected. Rising prices for housing, energy, and food will even put more strain on families already struggling to make ends meet. Unemployment could rise as businesses scale back in response to a weakening economy, leading to widespread job losses. The key question is how governments and central banks will respond to the looming crisis. The traditional methods like interest rate cuts and stimulus packages may not suffice. Central banks face a delicate balance, trying to curb inflation without harming growth. If these efforts fail, could alternative systems like cryptocurrencies or central bank digital currencies (CBDCs) emerge as solutions? As 2025 approaches, it's clear that the global economy is standing on a shaky ground. The combination of rising debt, persistent inflation, geopolitical tensions, and fragile supply chains has created a situation where another financial crisis seems almost inevitable. Drop down your views in the comments about this topic. Stay informed about the evolving economic situations. Subscribe and turn on notifications to get the latest updates on how to prepare for the 2025 crisis and protect your financial future.